This is Community Spotlight, and I'm Dan Levine. I'm here today with CEO and founder of White Horse Recovery Services, Mitch Mtn. Good morning, Mitch. How are you?
Great, Dan. How are you today?
Not too bad. So, Mitch, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was originally a UPS guy out of Atlanta, Georgia for like 34 years. I went to work for an organization called No Longer Bound as a board of director, and in that role, I got to see what was going on in the treatment and recovery of substance use disorder, because that's what they did. They took in men. And one of the things I realized is in New England and in New Hampshire in particular, and in Carroll County in particular, there wasn't a lot of service up here for the Medicaid group or just in general. So I made a decision to take an early retirement, and I left UPS and came here to start up what today is called White Horse Recovery.
So what is White Horse Recovery?
So White Horse Recovery is a full behavioral health service. So we started just with substance use disorder, and we had licensed clinicians that would treat people. We had certified recovery support workers that would help coach people through and get them into treatment. But then seeing the need for mental health service also, we expanded and we re-credentialed. So now we treat mental health issues like PTSD, trauma, anxiety, things like that, along with substance use disorder. So we do it all.
That's amazing, Mitch. So tell me, what are we doing sitting in a thrift store?
Well, you know, when we first started, we needed money. And we started a small thrift store down at 68 Route 16B in Center Ossipee. And just a little, about an 800 square foot store to help us fund it, to help us get the money to pay for people.
For the recovery services.
Yeah, for the recovery services, because a lot of the people we treated whether they could pay us or not. So regardless, and it's the same way today, we treat people regardless of ability to pay. So that meant we needed some money to pay the people that were doing the treatment and to hire people. So we started a thrift store to help us do that. And the generosity of people in the neighborhood and the community, all the stuff that you see within our stores has all been donated to us. And then we resell it. So any of the proceeds from what we sell, anything above our cost, goes directly into the program that helps fund people.
And where is White Horse? Where are you located?
Well, our office is at 68 Route 16B in Center Ossipee. We also have a resource center down there called The Shed. That's where anybody it's a walk-in service. You can walk in and get help and resources. Could be anything from helping find treatment to help get transportation, whatever. So that's a walk-in. That's at 70 Route 16B. And then we moved our thrift store to this location at 232 Route 16B at the Indian Mound Plaza.
Okay.
So this is where our thrift store is, where we are today. And then we expanded into North Conway. So at 2977 White Mtn Hwy, we have a clinical building and resource center there now. And then this past 2 years ago, we expanded to Littleton, New Hampshire, where we have a resource center, and we're working on opening up a treatment center in Littleton.
Wonderful.
So we're always looking to expand. Our next big step will be residential.
Tell me about that.
So one of the things that we have trouble with, so if we get someone that needs to go to a 28-day treatment or beyond that, we usually have to send them out of town. So we send them to Manchester, or I've sent them as far as Kentucky, in Florida, to send people to get treatment. And that's very difficult. So we need to have that treatment available right here in Carroll County. So we're working today. We have a development committee, building committee, and they're working on a couple pieces of property as we speak to try to get us into a campus environment where we can take people in, and we want to be able to take them in for up to a year if we need to.
Wonderful.
So they get a full continuum of care. They go in and get the initial high intensity treatment, and then we walk it back down from there until eventually we can help them get back into the life that they really want.
Excellent. So Mitch, that leaves me with one question for you. Why?
Why?
Why? Because you told us that you saw a need, but lots of people see a need. What was Mitch's drive to do something about that need?
Well, this is a faith-based organization, so Christian. When I was in Georgia, that's where I found my faith and where I found Christ for myself. And it was in that finding and growing that I felt a calling to do something. You know, I promised God back at the time. He helped me through some pretty tough times, and it was through that I made a promise. And that calling just came up. I was doing a report for a class I was taking. I got my master's in theology, and in that class, I learned that New Hampshire was the worst state in the nation for substance use disorder, and that Carroll County was the worst county. So, you know, and it fluctuated up from worst to maybe third worst at times, but it was in that time, in that moment, in that calling that I felt that I needed to come back here and do something. I had grandchildren here, and my children moved here, and I just, you know, selfishly, maybe I picked Carroll County because that's where they lived. But to be honest, where I grew up. Yeah. You know, I grew up, I went to Kennett, I grew up in Conway. I had moved out a long time ago to pursue my career with UPS. And I traveled, I've worked all over the world, but I felt, you know, I really didn't know a lot about substance use disorder at the time outside of what I learned on the board. But I did know what my faith was telling me, and I did know that something needed to be done. So I don't know, it's kind of, it was accumulation of things and promises. And I had no idea we'd be where we are today. I came to just start some little small thing, but God had different ideas, and we're just growing exponentially. Yeah.
So prior to us doing this interview today, you told me about some other interesting things that you do here at the thrift store. What other kind of services do you guys provide?
Yeah. So we open a print and copy center that's at the store, so you can come in and get anything from business cards to brochures to just making copies. We do all those services. We get an incredible graphic artist that can help design things for you. And we do a UPS shipping center. So we have UPS access point and stuff here. It's all part of driving resources towards the need that we have. But also in the long run, as we get residential, it'll be a place for people to come in our program and learn skills and start to learn how to work within a business environment again, teach them the print shop and teach them different things that we can here. So eventually we'll expand to other business type of opportunities and make it really a cottage industry based organization where we can treat people but also reintegrate people into the workforce and help them learn different things.
Well, that's amazing, Mitch.
Yeah.
Thank you. And there you have it, Whitehorse Recovery Services and Thrift Store. If you find yourself in Ossipee in need of help, look them up. How would somebody contact you?
They can give us a call at 651-1441, 603, and that will contact our main operator, and they can set you into contact with any part of our business, from clinical to resource center back to the thrift store.
Wonderful.
Or you can just walk into the thrift store or any of our resource centers.
Excellent. Well, Mitch, thank you very much for sitting with us today.
No problem, Dan. Thank you.